Lee Kugelmann will be telling us a little bit about herself and her situation here. So, Lee?
Good morning, guys. My name is Lee Kugelmann. I am 21 years old. I'm a recent graduate of Emory University, and I am also a carrier of Barth syndrome. My brother was born when I was 5 years old in Cape Canaveral, Florida, and he was immediately airlifted to Arnold Palmer Hospital over in Orlando. Not only did I not get to see or hold my baby brother when he was first born, I did not get to ride in a helicopter with him. After a week at Arnold Palmer, he was taken to Shands Hospital, where he spent the first 5 weeks of his life in heart failure. And then he kind of just got better, and his doctor said, we're not really sure why, but he is ready to go home. For the past 16 years, he has continued to thrive and surprise us. It took 2 years after he was born for RJ to receive a diagnosis of Barth syndrome. I've got a distinct memory of being at my grandparents' house where my parents were in the kitchen asking about any boys in our family who had died very young, trying to see if they could trace the lines of this disorder back through our family tree. And I was back in another room, and I had come across, my great-grandmother was this, she was a school teacher in this little tiny one-room schoolhouse in the middle of nowhere, Montana. And I'd come across her textbooks and her science textbook, and I'm flipping through, and I came to the section on genetics. I brought it in the kitchen, and I said, this is what you're talking about. I recognize the words. Explain to me what's going on. And whatever words are appropriate to tell a 7-year-old about chromosomes, they did. A little while later, they all got to participate in the buckle test to find out that while my mother was a carrier, my grandmother was not. So we've discovered that not only RJ's diagnosis was confirmed, but we know that it started with my mom. Once again, I was not invited to participate, and I was not very impressed. It took until 2 years ago, when I was 19, for me to get tested and confirm something that I had kind of already decided to be true, that I was a carrier of Barth syndrome. In the intervening 2 years, I have been pushing for this organization to establish more programming to address the needs of our carrier women. So this past week, we have had meetings with women of all ages and talked to them about some of the issues that they have faced in getting prepared to get tested, or once they know their diagnosis, dealing with that fact. These women are scared of passing this gene on to their children and to their grandchildren. They're anxious about their own daughters having to deal with the fact that they may be carriers and deal with the tough decisions that would come with that knowledge. And a lot of them are guilty. They feel that the struggles their children and their families have gone through are their own responsibility. But they're also hopeful. I've had a number of women this week tell me, when my daughter is old enough to have children, she will have so many more options. So I am here today to remind you guys that all of the hard work you're doing, all of the late nights writing grant proposals, are not just to help all these guys that you see running up and down the hallways. You're to help the ones that are yet to come. You are not just giving hope to the families who are right now dealing with Barth syndrome, but the families that have the option of one day not dealing with Barth syndrome and seeing this disorder eradicated in their generation. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Stewart, but thank you guys so much for taking your time to sit in here today.